In the aftermath of the Great War, the people of Darien hoped for a swift return to normalcy. Bounty hunters continue to root out pockets of resistance, scouring even the remotest corners of Aramon. Our true story begins ages ago with the mage emperor Garacaius, the great unifier of Darien, who abdicated his throne to his children. Garacaius had grown weary of the deathless eternity that his life had become. In a stunning burst of magic, he traded immortality for one last mortal lifetime. Slipping around the palace guards, Garacaius departs Darien forever in a small fishing boat. He navigates the treacherous Kuvera Straits, eventually reaching the land of Creon, far to the northwest.
As ruler of Darien, my magic cheated death, yet it also robbed my life of pleasure. I gave all for this ripe adventure leading to a happy end, and I shall make of this barren waste of Creon a fitting nation to build my burial tower. They have metal, I gave them metallurgy. They have alchemy, they will have chemistry. They have superstition, I give them science. Yet I tremble for those magic-besotted children of mine who in centuries hence must gaze on the blazing comet of Creon's rise. But enough of things to come. Father Time, father to us all, shall see it all dust, and castles, and dust again. Garacaius, former mage emperor of Darien.
The distant, secretive land of Creon was the true source of the gunpowder that turned the tide of the war against Loken. But victory has a price, paid in blood and in gold. Elson of Aramon had shared in triumph over Loken and agreed to pay for Creon's invention. But gold draws raiders as blood draws sharks. No predator was more dangerous than a renegade group of fanatical Tarosians called the Cult of Loken, led by the fearsome wizard Helligren.
Our magic has divined Varunan ships bearing gold from Aramon. Loken willing, our dark ships strike quick and true, and Varunan flotsam shall bear crimson witness to the hungry sea. Helligren, priest captain cult of Loken.
The payment of gold from Varuna never reached Creon. Sent to investigate, Captain Rettenbrass of Varuna found only wreckage and a captain's log noting the approach of unfamiliar black ships. Creon also decides to investigate the delay in their expected payment. When the flotilla of their dark hulls suddenly appears on the horizon, Rettenbrass responds swiftly.
The foremast hand has spotted the enemy. I am beating to quarters and engaging them directly. The favor of Lear be with us. Captain Rettenbrass, Her Majesty's ship, Perilous.
Rettenbrass had unwittingly struck a spark that would ignite the world. Creon responded with outrage and an intimidating combat-hardened flotilla. Varuna's battle-wise leader, Karenna, had no desire to confront the unknown strength of Creon so soon after a devastating war. She ceded the northwestern island of Kaura to Creon control, ostensibly as a gesture of peace. But the people of Kaura rose up in spontaneous rebellion against the iron hand of their new masters, even as the voice of their new colonial ruler was heard throughout the land.
People of Kaura, rejoice! Your bondage to the vile superstitions of magic is ended, and an age of reason and enlightenment is begun. Join us, and the streets will be paved with Creon gold. Defy us, and they'll be cobbled with bones.
But the rebels would have none of it. Meanwhile, Elson of Aramon was furious with Karenna, all the more so because Kaura had at times been a part of his kingdom. He sent her a message by Spyhawk.
Sister Karenna, I would apprise you of my latest observer's report. The Aramon gold entrusted to your care was blundered away to privateers. Then your incompetent underlings compound your error with an attack on a great sovereign state with untested resources. At the least, you have stupidly put us all at the mercy of their gunpowder. As to the Aramonian protectorate of Kaura, how dare you offer our land to atone for Varuna's sins of state? Elson, Mage King of Aramon.
Elson's fury with Karenna and Varuna was an ill-kept secret and a popular sentiment. A commander in Mahari decided to seek his sovereign's approval with an attack upon Varunan ships at anchor in port. One Varunan ship captain fought desperately to win passage to the open sea. Ages earlier, Garacaius had mused upon the impetuous nature of his newly adopted nation.
How these warriors of Creon remind me of my daughter Corenna in her youth. Never far from righteous anger, ever confident she was in the right, and willing to thrash anyone who disagreed. With my guidance to temper their steely spirit, these Creonite upstarts will surely rule the western lands and seas in a few generations. Garacaius, first sage of Creon.
His words were more prophetic than he dreamed, as this urgent dispatch from Varuna's monarch showed. People of Kaura, know that Varuna is with you in this desperate hour. Together we will surely throw these tin gods back into the icy mother sea to rust and ruin. Stand together and resist as long as you can. I will send aid as quickly as possible. Karenna, sea mage of Varuna. In Taros, Heligrin, leader of the outlawed cult of Loken, continues his plan to rebuild Taros to its former glory under Loken. Drawn by urgent voices that he alone could hear, he and his band arrive at Crone's Crook to discover unfamiliar soldiers and strange creatures picking over the wreck of the long-lost Sea Shadow, the ship that had carried a mysterious artifact created by Loken himself before his death.
What manner of hell hags are these? I fear the worst at this wretched sight. Our monarch's bottle must not fall into the hands of strangers. We will engage and subdue these wretched vultures. Interrogation tools applied to survivors may gain some advantage. Heligrin, priest captain, cult of Loken.
As it happened, the cult of Loken were too late to capture their precious bottle at the wreck and turned elsewhere in their quest. Meanwhile, it grew clear that Kauran resistance against the forces of Creon would collapse without massive support. Corenna sent an urgent entreaty to Elson. Elson, my brother, perhaps we have shown less honor to Aramon's claims to Kaura than was warranted. I propose that by joint decree it be made a free port, and both our lands shall prosper from the trade benefits thus derived. But first, as in the great war just past, we must close ranks again. We must wage a true war against these scheming invaders from Creon. We must unite against them as we did against Loken, and with the same resolve, achieve like result. Karenna, Mage Queen of Varuna.
So be it, sister. Let expediency overcome discord. We are once again united in battle. Elson, Mage King of Aramon.
Corenna and Elson gained a temporary advantage against their new enemy, but remained puzzled as to their history and their hatred of all things magical. The solution lay far in the past, yet much closer to home than they could have imagined.
Now we set forth on our greatest conquest. The first sage of old warned us never to tamper with the fabric of existence. These weirds who harp reality with foul magics must be put down with honest blades and bullets. Menelaus, 27th sage of Creon.
Their awe-inspiring iron fleet hidden just offshore, the Creonites suddenly fall upon Kaura in a dark tempest of steel, lit by the orange lightning of cannon fire. Creon's victorious forces proceeded to the mainland of Aramon, thus pitting the adoptive heirs of Garacaius against his natural-born son, a battle he foreshadowed centuries earlier in his journal.
I have gained the respect of the people of Creon, and they have named me Sage, ruler of the land. I am proud of what they have accomplished with logic and reason, using mana only as a resource. I cannot help but speculate who would prevail if these newfound principles of science are someday tested against the boundless forces of magic. Garacaius, first sage of Creon.
That test was now at hand. Creon's successes against Aramon continued as they put to use the weapons created through the scientific principles. Garacaius had fostered and encouraged this practice long ago.
The ingenuity of my new subjects continues to surprise and impress me. Their experiments with arbalists and ballista have created engines capable of throwing canisters great distances. For ammunition, They have created a substance that burns hot and fierce on all it touches. Lately, I stand on an overlook simply to watch it wreak havoc and mayhem amongst our enemies. Características, Sage of Creon.
The ingenious and menacing war toys of Creon tore through the Mage Emperor's first domain like the blades of a slaughterhouse.
Battle orders to the 3rd Royal Command of Aramon. You shall make a brave stand at King's Barrow Hills. The setbacks of Farodon and Guest must not be repeated on this hallowed ground. This metal juggernaut will be stopped, and stopped here. Wherever free men shall gather on this day in Aramon, they shall suffer regret they did not witness the valor of seasoned soldiers laying waste to the clunking junk heaps of Creon. Aramon must prevail. Elson, Mage King of Aramon.
In Taros, a group of bounty hunters from Aramon ran into an astonishing sight.
Them devil maggots at Taros was a sight I reckoned was banished from Darien forever. My company was there at the siege of Elam, and I recognized the flame sign of Locken on their rope things right off. Well, I was thinking, I'll have the glory of the last blood of the war, not to mention a snogger and fat bounty, as the locals would say. Matero the Cleaver, soldier of fortune.
The bounty would prove fat indeed. The bounty hunters recover gold from the cult, freshly stamped by the Royal Exchequer in Keluan. Once news of this reaches Elson, he is stunned to realize that his gold payment to Creon for their gunpowder was intercepted by Tarosians still loyal to Locken. The premise for war with Creon was false, yet how to mend fences now? Varuna had lost the gold, and then mistakenly attacked Creonite ships, sealing their fate with the Iron Machine to the west. Only a bold and risky plan might succeed, to Aramon's gain.
By decree, generals of the Aramon Guard, I grant command of the home forces to you. As for me, I will personally lead an elite expeditionary force equal to 4 raider battalions into the caverns of Bis, which, if the Miners' Guild can be trusted, will see us through the mountain to the very heart of Creon. But look to the lords of the north. I fear they may use my absence to bring ill to Aramon. Elson, Mage King of Aramon.
Elson's worries proved to be well-founded. The lords of the north declared common cause with Creon and took the field against what remained behind of the Aramon army and irregular loyalist units. Their common sigil being golden, reminiscent of the livery of their Creonite allies, they were quickly labeled Yellow Jackets by the forces of Aramon.
I reckoned that going for glory into the caverns abyss was naught but rushing into an open grave. My assignment back home seemed a dream for sure. But when these blasted Yellow Jackets swarmed upon us, I had my doubts I'd cheated fate. And rounding up deserters or bringing in a thief gone to ground, that's one thing, but this was outright war. Brother against brother. Mathero, 2nd Squad of Lord Elson's daggers.
Hellegrin of the Cult of Locken had ruthlessly interrogated Creonites captured at the wreck of the Sea Shadow. From their agonized confessions, he learned of the bottle and wrote of the next steps for his fanatical followers.
The facts are simple. The object of our great quest is in the hands of the leader of these ironclad savages. However, we lack the great ships to weather storm and cannon across the well-patrolled seas of Darien. Thersha of Zon may agree to provide transport by air, but she is well hidden in her thick jungles. We must first fight the weird tribes of Zon to gain her audience. Hellegrin, Priest Captain Cult of Locken.
Under the mountains, Elson's forces make their way through fierce gauntlets of nocturnal horrors, only to find a vast subterranean river blocking their path. But a chance discovery suggested the worst was yet to come. Just after we found the big river, I stumbled over a hunk of rock that turned out to be a miner, or what used to be. I informed the captain at once. There was not much left to claim as human, ate by a devil-jawed beast from the look of the pieces. Some coins had come out of his pack, scattered about. Captain said they looked Creon, and all hell broke then, 'cause he was spying for sure. We was known to the enemy now. Company's coming. Dowser Huck, foot soldier of Aramon. Creon now is poised to invade the main island of Vidara at the very heart of Varuna. a desperate Queen Karenna sends an envoy to the Sage of Creon to sue for peace.
Karenna, your emotional arguments hold no sway with those who revere logic and science above magic and superstition. We need no such primitive belief systems, no crutches to advance our superior civilization across Darien. We shall, however, grant you swift return of your envoy, as soon as the glacier bears have done with her. The remaining portions will be served to you cold as your unconditional surrender entree. Menelaus, 27th Sage of Creon.
The fleet of Varuna is decimated in its final attempt to break the Creonite supply chain. Now Karenna summons her deepest powers and conjures a magical vision of her brother Elson on his dangerous quest in the caverns of Bis. In this revelation, she sees her only hope lies in joining forces with Elson in Creon to strike a magical death blow to the very heart of their common enemy. She issues a farewell decree to her people. Beloved children of Varuna, I have only one hope. I must combine my power with that of my brother Elson. Lear grant that we break the grip of this metal fist before it crushes us all. I go now to find a break in this wall of iron that surrounds me. From there, I will find my way to Elson and seek a shining hope for us all. Karenna, Mage Queen of Varuna. Hellegrin's mission to Thersia was a success. The mysterious Queen of the Air agrees to provide winged transport to Creon. Thersia and members of the Cult of Loken now traverse the treacherous updrafts over Ulin's fingers. Even the fervent cultists find reason to doubt their quest and their enigmatic leader. One party member voices her misgivings.
Many of us secretly whisper our doubts on Hellegrin's sanity. This labyrinth chase through the passes has no point. Why don't we merely summon great clouds of black mana and be done with this foolish errand? But Hellegrin will have none of it. He claims to hear our deceased monarch and seek counsel from that mistress to beasts, Thersia, the very one who failed our lord in the Great War. Would that Hellegrin could hear the voices of his own kind. Beasor, Weather Witch of Taros.
Thersia and the Cult of Loken now reach the culmination of their quest and behold a vast Creon research facility filling the heart of an extinct volcano. Thersia at last confides in Hellegrin, as he recounts later in his memoirs.
Thersia turned to me and admitted she knew well of my quest for the bottle. Before the end of the Great War, Loken himself gave her his artifact, Angvir's Flame, a golden scepter with a Mogrite stone at its center. But then she informs me that the scepter, if placed against the soul bottle, actually has the power to restore Loken from the dark place where he dwelt. I am thunderstruck. The voices in my head are riotous. My long quest for King Loken must be nearly done. Hellegrin, Priest Captain, Cult of Loken.
Revivication without the presence of the original body was considered a dangerous and heretical practice, even among the most evil mage priests of Taros. But first, Thersia and the cult must reach the bottle at the heart of the bizarre Creonite facility. The Cult of Loken fulfilled their dark quest, and their sovereign walked once more in this world. A verse from the Bard of Elam recounts Loken's first words upon his return to the living.
All is lost, that all may gain again. In faith, this iron bane of Taros and all Darien upon this stormy resurrection day shall suffer grievous for its policy. An end so like death, as if never was. Loken, necromancer of Taros.
Loken had rejoined the living, but surrounded by Creonite enemies. For how long? Centuries earlier, Garacaius had been in an unusually contemplative mood.
My adopted country has been victorious in battle and grown strong. I am pleased, and yet, for all their fractious quarreling, I miss my children. Perhaps someday they will come to visit my new home. Garacaius, first Sage of Creon.
Inside the walls of his capital, the current Sage of Creon grew frantic.
Fire wagons to flanks! Where's the 3rd Trooper Regiment? And where's the enemy?
Curse these mage-soaked demons! They're using this superstitious pap to cloak themselves from view! Menelaus, 27th Sage of Creon!
The first children of Garacaios had come at last to Creon. Creon's early victories were disheartening to Elson, but reinforcements arrived through the caverns of Bis and poured into the vicinity of Attis, the capital of Creon, in ever-increasing numbers. That evening an entourage approached that would give Elson great relief. Elson, rejoice! I have arrived at last in your hour of need, even as you aided me at Caura. Let us toast to the defeat of our common enemy, Carena, Mage Queen of Varuna. The merriment was short-lived. Brother and sister retired to plan the final siege of Attis. Soldiers would march at dawn. The outer shell of Creon's defenses was cracking, but the core remained resolutely defiant. But then a new force arrived by air to join forces with Elson and Carena, one totally unexpected and unforetold.
The tent smelled of civilization. A putrid mixture of perfumes, soaps, and over-seasoned broth stews. The Lord of Arrogance and the Queen of Seaweed made no attempt to hide their contempt of me, nor I them. But since I found that this new Iron Plague was even worse than their pretentious prattle, I pledged with their purpose, and Locken's efforts as well. The rest, as they say, is history. Thersia, Huntress of Zon.
The united armies of Aramon, Varuna, and Zon were arrayed against a solemn yet determined sage of Creon.
Now they fly at me as well? With these hosts of winged horrors? So be it! We'll be scraping them off the wings of our flying machines like the overgrown sowbugs they are! Menelaus, 27th Sage of Creon!
And so the family reunited for the final assault.
So we are pulled together once again by the irresistible magnet of self-interest. Under my direction, you will...
Your direction? Do not forget that it was your own meddling that brought these invaders.
Thersia, had you not sided with Locken in the Great War, we never would have needed the gunpowder that Creon provided.
Yes, that turned out quite well, did it not? Now let us pinch tight our noses and enter the fray conjoined in familial bliss. A touching portrait for Father Garacaios.
The future of the world now hung in perilous balance. War's end would come not cheaply, nor quickly, nor mercifully. Creon was broken. The four monarchs cautiously approach an elaborately ornate crypt. The Creonites realized their founder was once a mage wizard. The rulers of Darien discovered they had almost been destroyed by the final ambition of their own father. Creonites became more isolated and less certain about carrying the religion of science to the unenlightened. They withdrew their expeditionary force from Darien and destroyed the Creonite entrance to the caverns of Bis in a titanic explosion. Back in Darien, the four monarchs had much to do. Carena, chastened but ever eager for a chance for profit, began regular trade with the restive, brooding land of Creon. Locken returned to Taros, but none of his siblings trusted that death had softened his nature. Thersia melted back into the wilds of Zon and raised up even more nightmare creatures to guard her privacy. And Elson returned to put down the remnants of rebellion, outwardly unchanged but inwardly shaken, wondering whether Garacaios would ever truly be gone from his life. The words found carved on the crypt in Creon gave him cold comfort.
At last I lie, 'neath bitter stone, perforce at rest. I rot in magic and in iron two mighty lands, though in the end all vanishes beneath time's sands. In life anew, inequities shall be redressed. Garacaios, Mage Emperor of Darien, First Sage of Creon.